Okay, I never thought I'd have to make this video, but I think I should. This is my honest thoughts on Universal Kids and Sprout. Am I happy with this change? Yes, I am. Because I actually hate the Sprout channel now. Well, I hated Sprout ever since 2013, up until it became Universal Kids. I think this change was a great change, in my opinion. Back when Sprout first started, in some areas it replaced some PBS stations or PBS Kids channels in certain areas. And yeah, it was a good start at the time. They had some good programming. They had Thomas the Tank Engine. They had Kipper the Dog. They had James the Cat. They also had Sagwa and several other good Sprout shows. Sure that the only bad shows they had at the time were Barney and Friends and Teletubbies. Maybe there were a few other bad shows. Oh, and Caillou. Those were bad shows, but most of the programming they had was actually tolerable. Up until 2010, it's where it started to go downhill, in my opinion. They got rid of most of the good shows, and, well, some of the good shows. I almost forgot to mention Pingu. I can't believe I forgot about Pingu. That was a good show. And, personally, if you were to ask me what I think of Sprout now, I'm going to let this clip of Rainbow Dash pretty much sum up what I think of Sprout as of today. Yeah, that clip of Rainbow Dash pretty much sums up what I think of Sprout these days. I actually started hating Sprout around 2014. It's just not the same like what it used to be. Back in the day, Sprout was awesome. These days, I think Sprout should just die off and be Universal Kids 24/7. Let's take a look at the trash that Sprout has these days. Okay, if anyone's wondering what the current Universal Kids programming is, well, I'm going to show you right now. If anyone's wondering why the layout looks slightly different than when I made that Discovery Family video, well, DirecTV recently modernized their menu. I actually kind of like the new menu. For those who hate it, well, that's their problem. Anyway, the Sprout programming starts at 3 Eastern. I live in the Mountain Time Zone, so it'd be 1 o'clock. It starts off with Ruff, Tweet, and Dave. Who's going to get up at 3 in the morning to watch this? Certainly not me. The B, that show is garbage, even though it has Andrea Libman. She's better off sticking with My Little Pony and just My Little Pony. The Doozers, not interesting. It's not entertaining. Space Racers, not interesting. School of Roars, la-di-da. Olivia, haven't seen much of it, so I can't be the judge. Charlie and Lola, one of my favorite Playhouse Disney shows. This is a good show. Ranger Bob, boring. Flugels, boring. Caillou, oh, one of the worst PBS Kids shows. Next to Barney and Friends, and I'm glad that's not on here anymore. Wiggle, Wiggle, Wiggle. I have respect for the Wiggles if it involves the original ones, which are Greg, Murray, and Anthony, as well as Jeff. The new guys, they don't deserve to be called the Wiggles. They're fake. Ruff, I already mentioned that. Topsy and Tim, yeah. Sarah and Duck, boring. Super Wings, yawn. Yeah, more Caillou, don't get me started. Lil Roy, I hate it. That's Basic Dot, boring. Nina's World, boring. Cody Kapow, boring. Universal Kids starts at 6 p.m., which is 4 in the afternoon where I'm at. So basically, that's typically their programming. Let's go ahead and restart back at 1 o'clock. It's basically the same boring programming over and over and over. Although on the weekends, I think it's the same trash. Yeah. Basically, wait a sec, the Ollie and Moon show, boring. That's basically what most of the Sprout programming is these days, and none of it interests me. Let's go back over to my main thoughts on the Sprout channel and why I prefer Universal Kids. If you were to ask me what I think of the Universal Kids half, I actually like it. They actually have very decent shows. Top Chef Jr., The Noise, Beat the Clock came back. I love that show. Big Star, Little Star, I kind of like it. It reminds me of Mixture of What Happens If You Combine the Newlywed Game with Tattletales and the Taboo game show. And overall, most of their programming on the Universal Kids side is actually very good. Unlike the Sprout half, which is total garbage. In fact, to be honest, I think Sprout should shut down and just be Universal Kids altogether. That's just my theory on what I think of Universal Kids. This is a good rebrand in my book. I don't like any of the programming, except for Charlie and Lola for Sprout, but everything else, it's got to become Universal Kids altogether. The only change that pretty much bothers me is when the hub became Discovery Family. When I first found out about this, I was very mad. I do not like Discovery Family. I have a love-hate relationship with this channel. While it still airs some of the hub programming, they got rid of the good programming in the prime time. No more Alf, no more Laverne and Shirley, no more classic Batman and Robin. Thankfully, there's MeTV for that. But I would rather watch those shows than the trash they have on primetime. Unless the movies, then I'll accept those. But aside from that, I do not approve Discovery Family's programming, to be honest. I miss the Hub Network with a burning passion. Somebody start a petition and tell the people at Discovery Communications to shut down Discovery Family and relaunch the Hub Network. If they want to keep Discovery Family, then they should move it to a different channel and give us back the Hub Network. That's just my theory on what should happen. Even though it won't happen, but I think Hasbro needs the rights back to their network. That's just the way things should be, in my opinion. Anyway, that concludes my theory on what I think of Sprout's current programming and what I think of Universal Kids programming. I like Universal Kids. I hate Sprout. Now, as for the Hub becoming Discovery Family, that's the example of the opposite. I hate Discovery Family. I want the Hub back. In fact, if I think those two channels were going to combine something, I think Sprout should join forces with Discovery Communications, and Universal Kids should focus with Hasbro. That's just my theory. Anyway, since I got nothing else to say, that's all I gotta say. I'm going to end off this video.